Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is Airfix Club, official magazine for club members, issue 9. I must admit, I did get this before Christmas. So unlike last year where they sent out the magazine, I think I received it in February, either late January or early February. They sent this out in time because it's got the 2024 club calendar with it as well. So let's have a look. So we got, following up from the new release, the surprise new release at the end of last year for the ME410. They've got another article here on the 410 in this magazine. So now this article is just an article about an air show which takes place, it says here, it takes place at Aerodrome de Cerny near the village of La Fuerte-Alais in the Lille de France region. I've probably murdered that, like really murdered that, but hopefully you get the gist. But yeah, some nice photos of some aircraft at the air show. And it was a really interesting short read. Right, the sting of the hornice, which as I understand it means hornet. Now this is the BF410, which was the final kind of iteration of Germany's destroyer series of planes. They had an idea that twin-engined fighters would be superior to single-engined fighters, which they were proven wrong. But then they turned these fighters into something else. So a lot of them were turned into specifically night fighters because they had the size and scope to take the necessary radar equipment and antennas for that. And with the second operator in the plane, you know, the pilot could pilot and the operator could deal with the radar. They also went on to perform quite well in a ground attack role. There's Matchbox released back in the 80s, a really nice BF110. I think it was, I'm fairly certain it was a BF110 which had a massive cannon. Was it it was either the BF110 or the Stuka. I can't remember exactly. I think it was the BF110, but it had a massive cannon attached to it, which was specifically used for taking out tanks. I think it was something like a 50mm cannon. You get some nice, interesting shots of the forward bomb bay, or the nose bomb bay on this aircraft, which is unusual in a lot of the World War II aircraft. But yeah, it's a really nice, interesting article about the history of it and what it was primarily designed for, and then what it actually went on to do. So we then get a quick designer interview for the Blackburn Buccaneer. This is the, I think this is about the 148, yes, 148 scale Blackburn Buccaneer, which is nice. So the Buck, I think, when did the Buck last see service? Was active service, I think, must have been the first Gulf War in 1990, 91, I think. Then we have the Aviation Photo Awards for 2023, and there are some pictures that I like. For example, I kind of like this one. It's not my favourite. This one I think is a bit bland. You know, it's a nice aspect of the Lank, but I feel it's a bit bland. The one I do like is this really moody black and white of this Spitfire. This is a really nice photo. I like that. And I like this Kathlina photograph as well. I think maybe, I mean, artistically, that's, you know, people might turn around and say that's the right size for it. It captures the environment as well as the aircraft in silhouette. I'm thinking maybe a little bit bigger on close up on the aircraft, but I like it. And then obviously we've got the arrows and then a lynx. I do like the lynx. Some nice artwork of the BF410. And then we're on to just an article about the hobby and memories, and you know what the what the modelling world does in sort of like preserving history, because quite often you'll see a model kit of a prototype aircraft, and then you'll see, so for example, I think the best example would be the Harrier. So I think Airfix produced a Kestrel, which was the forerunner to the Harrier, and then they had the Harrier GR1, then the GR3, then they went on for the GR7, you know, and it's nice that things like that happen, and that history is preserved, as they say, in that way. Members gallery, some really nice photographs here. We got a Swedish vampire, a buccaneer, a phantom. I don't know what this is. It's obviously a paddle steamer of some sort, but I don't know what model that is. That looks like a P40. Now, so that's, I'm fairly certain that's the Japanese torpedo bomber, but I can't, I think it was called a Kate. The like the Allied code word for it was the Kate. I'm probably wrong off the top of my head. And then we got a nice, that's either a Bristol Blenheim, a Bristol Beaufort or a Bristol Beaufighter, I think. Testing my aircraft recognition. And then we got the Panzer III. Nice article on the Panzer III. Right. Then we have a build for the Westland Sea King. And this is just, you know, picking out bits and pieces that the person making the build did. And Airfix on tour to round out the year, and then we get a nice photograph of a Sea King on the back. Right, let's have a look at the Airfix Club. So we got a Gloucester Meteor on the front there. And I don't know what that is. It looks like an American plane to me, an American carrier plane, and it could be the F4 Wildcat. Is it an F4 Wildcat or Bearcat? And that's a nice B-17. B-25 Mitchell, I think. BF-109. And that aircraft, that picture was in the other one. I still think it's either a, I don't think it's a Blenheim. I think it's a Beaufort or Beaufighter, one of the two. Ah, look at that, Ferret Scout car. Oh, I still need to get me one of those. It's on my list. Harrier, Sea Harrier, I think, specifically. Blackburn Buccaneer. Now that's either a Tempest or a Typhoon. I wouldn't know which one. No idea what that is. That could be anything from a Sopwith Camel to, I don't know, a Hawker Fury. No idea. It's obviously a British-made truck there. Couldn't tell you which one. Now, that looks like the Gnat, not a Hawk. Is that what they called it, the Gnat? Was it a Foley Gnat or a Fairy Gnat? Foley, I think. Oh, God. Memory. And then here we go. So we got a P51 Mustang and an ME262. Jaguar E-Type. That was easy because it's on the front. We've got a couple of Bullfinches. Again, it's named. Another Blackburn Buccaneer. We've got another British truck. And then down here we've got the, was it the Iron Maiden bomber from the artwork on one of Iron Maiden's albums? I want to say Iron Maiden, but that looks awesome. This Heinkel HE111. I mean, in black, that looks something else. But yeah, I think it was Iron Maiden. I don't think it was anybody else. And then we got a really great, lovely coloured de Havilland Vampire. I wonder what this colour scheme was for. So if anybody knows what this black and yellow stripe colour scheme was for, I think it might have been like a drone tug. So it would pull a drone behind it for the purpose of other aircraft to shoot down. Obviously not this, but, and I just think that, or it's some sort of, I don't know, test aircraft, radar test aircraft. Because there are lots of different colour schemes that were created for various different things, like drone tugs, like aircraft that are specifically designed to test radar, you know, make sure it's working and it's calibrated and that sort of thing. And they do come up with like really garish colour schemes. One of the things I'd really like to do is I'd like to try and find a fair, not too difficult, but a fairly easy colour scheme for a bomber formation aircraft. So if we go back to our B-17, so when these massed bomber wings would take off, there would be a really brightly and leery coloured aircraft which would take off, and then all the bomber aircraft from the various wings would form up on that aircraft, and then that aircraft would head out in the direction, and then at a certain point that aircraft would peel away, and then the bomber wing would go on to do their job. Now these aircraft were painted really, really brightly, so they'd have like orange and blue stripes or polka dots or just like different coloured panels painted onto it, and their sole job was literally get the bomber wings to form up and point them in the right direction, and that was it. And then they turned away and came home. And I'd really love to at some stage do something like that, but yeah, I'd love to know if anybody knows what this particular colour scheme was for. I mean, it may just be a fighter. I may be completely guessing. It may just have been a fighter. But yeah, I'd love to know if anybody knows what this colour scheme was for. Write it in the comments. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. The Airfix Club magazine, issue 9, and the club calendar 2024. All right, hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.